Hello, welcome back to the channel. I hope y'all had a lovely break. Firstly, I'd like to welcome everyone that has subscribed recently. It was quite a pleasant surprise to see the number of people that joined the channel over the holidays. Moving on, you'll notice that my last video was extremely well received. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's basically a video of me trying old school RuneScape for the first time, but what ended up happening was that I compared old school RuneScape with World of Warcraft. And I'll admit it, that was my mistake. Those games have literally nothing in common apart from both being considered MMORPGs. But on my last video, someone commented that I should react to the video called I Quit WoW and Spent a Year Addicted to OSRS. Here it is. I'll put the link in the description if you're interested in watching it. To be honest, I watched the video and I filmed myself watching it, but making entertaining reaction videos is just not my strength, and I just forgot I was recording when I was watching it, so I just didn't say anything. So I'm sorry about that, NDOG8252, but the video you suggested was truly amazing and it brought me to ask myself a big question. What actually makes a good game? Why do some games appeal to some people but not to others? Is it the graphics? Not particularly. Even though old school RuneScape is praised for its unique graphic style, I don't think the main reason people play the game is because it's graphically stunning per se. And that's true the other way around. Take for example Crysis 3, a game that was known for pushing graphical boundaries but was widely considered as an underwhelming game by its player base. So again, what makes a good video game? Is it an engaging gameplay? Yes, but not really. Some games had extremely innovative gameplay but flopped really hard. Take for example Titanfall 2, released in 2016, which had an amazing gameplay mechanic with mech suit combat, but very quickly the game fell off and none of the players stuck around. And it's the same for the other way around again. Some games have rather repetitive gameplay but still achieve great success, like, I don't know, Pokemon Go. I know it's a mobile game, but it still counts. So I'll ask again, what makes a good video game? That's the question I'll be attempting to answer in this week's video, but before we begin, I would like to thank you in advance for the like and the comment you will be leaving below. Let's dive right in. The first thing I'd like to talk about in this video is the power of a strong introduction. In my humble opinion, the first 10 to 15 minutes of a game is absolutely crucial aspect of making a memorable video game. A game's opening moments can completely make or break the experience, and to be honest, that was one of the main things that turned me off for OSRS. For instance, if I tell you God of War 3, you instantly remember that the intro of the game is an absolute masterpiece. You find yourself climbing Mount Olympus in order to take down Zeus, and that's the biggest strength of the God of War series, without even mentioning the gameplay, character design, story, voice acting, or anything else about the games. A good video game doesn't tell you need to spend 5 hours in it to eventually have fun. A good video game knows how to hook you right from the beginning, whether it's with its innovative tutorial or an engaging introduction to its universe or mechanics. Now I know, I'm comparing a multiplayer RPG like OSRS to a solo linear game like God of War, so I'm aware I'm comparing apples and oranges. But still, my point remains. The introduction of a game is key. For example, World of Warcraft, the introduction in my opinion is great. Even if the gameplay is simple and the mechanics are similar to OSRS, like simply clicking for combat, still the player is instantly immersed in the world of Azeroth, which is just not the feeling I had with OSRS. But if you like OSRS, that's okay, man. I do want to specify, I am not saying that OSRS is a bad game. I saw on the videos that I watched that there are millions of reasons as to why someone might love OSRS. I'm just saying that the game has different strengths, and to me, the introduction isn't one of them, which is probably why the game is struggling to get new players, and the game struggled to charm me into playing it some more. And that's okay. Anyways, moving on. Gameplay. It's the core of any game. A game can have the best graphics and best story in the world, but if it's clunky or unfun to play, it won't last long in our memories. And it won't even last long in our hands, as we just don't want to play it. Think about games like Hollow Knight or Dark Souls. Even though playing those games feel like shitting literal cactus, the tight controls and rewarding mechanics make every victory feel like an achievement. But gameplay isn't just about mechanics, it's about how the game makes you feel while you're playing it. Are you fully immersed? Does the game respect your time and skill level? Is the artificial intelligence fun to play against? Great gameplay knows how to strike that perfect balance between all of those questions. And I just mentioned artificial intelligence by saying, is it fun to play against the AI? Because according to many research in the world of video games, you might be surprised by this, but players don't prefer playing against intelligent AI or hard to beat AIs. Actually, believe it or not, the vast majority of players out there choose to play games on easy mode. So the answer to AI isn't just to ingrain enemies with deep learning AI code. Hard to beat games doesn't necessarily equate a good game. Now you might say Dark Souls games games are hard to beat, and I agree with you, but they are fair. If you die in Dark Souls, it is most probably because you got the timing wrong and you did something wrong in the battle. And that means that the player will think, I did something wrong here, I'm gonna learn the pattern and beat the boss on my next try, which in turn gives a feeling of achievement to the player once they beat the boss. What makes a bad game is if the playing experience feels unfair. In other words, what makes a bad game in terms of gameplay is if the player starts blaming the game instead of himself. Innovation in gameplay is also key. Some games like Sekiro or Bloodborne offered fresh mechanics to the Souls-like genre that kept players engaged in entirely new ways. Just like FPS. A lot of FPS look the same, but they have their own differences in gameplay, and that's what contributes to them being good or bad games, or just a copy and paste of all the other games before them. This balance is really crucial. Finding a way to incorporate old gameplay mechanics that work and innovating on them is really important. Whether it's a game that adapts to players to all skill levels or one that challenges the most dedicated players, the best games find a way to reward everyone. And I think that's one of the biggest strengths of a very good Souls-like game. Even the people that don't play those games often can still find great enjoyment to those games because they can play them in their own way. And that's just a really core of a good gameplay, is being able to reward all skill levels. Next in the components of what makes a good video game, a very important aspect of a game in my opinion, the story and the characters. Now, not every game needs a deep narrative, but when it is done right, it can really elevate a game from normal to legendary status. Games like The Last of Us and Persona 5 prove that we don't just play games, we live them. Great characters make you care about the world you're exploring. Whether it's a father-daughter bond, a barbarian on his way to kill the gods of Olympus, or a lone adventurer uncovering ancient secrets, it's the relationship between the player and the characters that stay with us. And even smaller indie titles like Undertale or Dave the Diver, which is an amazing game, I'll talk about that game in the next video, while those games pack an emotional punch, proving that heartfelt storytelling isn't limited to AAA games and high-budget companies. Anyone can make a very deep story. Undertale is the prime example of that. I mean, I don't even want to talk about that game. I feel like if you watch this video, you'll know it. If you haven't played Undertale, you gotta play it. Amazing game. Next point, let's talk about the art and sound design. A game doesn't need hyper-realistic graphics to be beautiful. Look at Undertale again, Zelda, or Minecraft. Their unique art styles create a vibe that's impossible to reproduce and to forget. Sound effects and sound design is crucial to establishing what the tone of a game is going to be. Would Doom feel the same without its adrenaline-pumping music? Or how about the serene melodies of Journey and Zelda? How about the unnerving music of Silent Hill 2? Sound pulls us into the world of the game and keeps us there. Hence why till this day Ocarina of Time is the favorite game for hundreds of thousands of players around the world, despite being an old game graphically. And careful, I'm not saying Ocarina of Time is good only because of its music, but that the music of Ocarina of Time is simply unmatched and played an integral role to making the game memorable. Perhaps one of the biggest strengths of the Zelda series is the soundtrack. Not just for Ocarina of Time, for all of them. All that to say that sound design sets the mood and defines our experience when interacting with a virtual world. These subtle touches of sound design can make the difference between a good game and a great one. I talked about Zelda Ocarina of Time. Well, personally, my favorite game in terms of music and sound design is Zelda Twilight Princess. Till this day, it's easily in my top 5 favorite games of all time, and I strongly recommend you try it out because it's just, this game puts me in a mood, man. It makes me feel nostalgic. The music is amazing. It's just, the Zelda series is unmatched in terms of music, and a lot of people out there agree with me. Let me know what your favorite game in terms of sound design is below, and I will definitely check it out. I love audio, and I think that, sound and music in general in a video game is, I think, the biggest component I look at when I look at a game. For example, Minecraft, I think, is an amazing game. A lot of people love it, but that music, imagine being up at 1 in the morning, building your base all alone in this world. It's just, that music adds such a huge dimension to the game. It's undeniable. Next up, one of the core components of what makes a good game, innovation and replayability, which are both key ingredients to making a legendary game. Games that push boundaries by innovating, like Portal's mind-bending puzzles, or again, Minecraft's sandbox creativity, redefine what's possible for the player. Whether it's multiple endings, endless customization, or just gameplay loops that's so satisfying that you just never want to stop. The best games keep us coming back for more. Games like Hades Diablo, or even Undertale show that replayability doesn't just mean more content, it's about how the game evolves every single time you play it. Although you shouldn't mistake replayability with the game being good. For example, League of Legends. I think the vast majority of players will agree that the reason people keep playing is because they're addicted, not because there's replayability. I mean, yes, there is replayability, every game is different, but addiction and replayability are two different things. I just don't think that being addicted to the game means that it's a good game. I mean, anyways. Next point. Finally, let's not forget the community impact. Games like Among Us and Fortnite brought people together in ways we have never seen before. I know they can often feel like meme games, but there's a reason why those games have been so popular. And that's greatly due to the community those games have created. The ability to share experiences and create memories with friends is also what makes gaming so special. The best games inspire creativity, conversation, and connection. Yes, they're not just game, they're a social gathering. And expanding on the topic of community impact, whether it's mods, art, or cosplay, those fan creations show how much impact a game can have beyond the screen, and in turn creates even more replayability to a game. Look at Roblox, for example. The game just won't die because the community keeps it alive by investing so much time in creating new games, modes, and maps to play with. You could say that the game is actually driven by its players, and that's amazing. So anyways, to conclude, I rambled on for a bit, and after writing this entire script, I came full circle and tried to answer my question. What makes a good video game? Well, ultimately, I don't know. I think a great game doesn't necessarily have to appeal to everyone. Some people might love The Last of Us for its story, while some might like it for its gameplay. Some people might like Red Dead Redemption 2 because they like the open world aspect of the game, while others simply because they have sadistic tendencies and want to drag a limp body for miles on end. Some people might like to play Tetris every day, but in the end I think that a great game comes down to finding the perfect balance between all those aspects that I mentioned in the video, to try to appeal to the widest audience as possible without compromising on the quality. A good game developer will know the mix between introduction, gameplay, story, art, immersion, innovation, and the potential for a fan community. The universe of the game has to be able to encompass all those aspects together, and at the end of the day, it's all about how a game makes you feel. If you enjoy playing something that others might not, who cares? What truly matters is that you're having fun. As long as you're not playing Fortnite, or League of Legends, or Overwatch, or Roblox, or Call of Duty. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't hesitate to let me know what's a game that stuck with you and why. Additionally, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as it truly inspires me to make more content for you guys. Peace!